welcome back, guys, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be going over my quick thoughts and opinions regarding Dwight's crossover into Season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. I will also be answering a question I got asked in a previous video by Robert H. regarding if I believe Morgan and the Fear cast will ever cross paths with the main show cast. So, Robert H., if you're watching this, I will be answering that in the second half of this video. I was going to do it in another separate video, but with this news coming out, I just figured I'd compile both video ideas into one video. But let's get into this right now. So, like I said, Dwight was announced to be a new crossover character in the Season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. Now, I know a lot of people have had mixed emotions about it. I know a lot of people are furious and angry that he's not returning to the main show. And then there are people so excited to see him actually return. I'm in the middle. I feel like it's fine, he's returning, whatever. And I can understand why people are furious that he's returning to the spinoff. However, he was never meant to return to the main show in all reality. And I'm sorry to anybody who was hoping that would happen or thought it might happen. But Dwight was never meant to return to the main show. Dwight is what in kind of TV or writing kind of business would call, he's a static character. He is just for plot device, and he doesn't go for any changes. If you look back to Dwight when we first met him, he hated kind of Negan. He hated Negan. He wanted to get rid of Negan. He was running away from Negan. All the way up until Season 6, Episode 6, up until Season 8 finale, he never changed. He hated Negan up until that point. Dwight in Season 8 and pretty much throughout his entire time served three purposes. To show us what was going on the inside of the sanctuary, to give us information so Rick could help take down Negan, and his third purpose was he wanted to get rid of Negan. By the end of Season 8, all those things were taken over, or were taken care of. Negan was taken care of, he was out of commission. Then you got the fact that the war was over, so what was he going to do then? Then you got the fact that the sanctuary went to bust. All three of his goals were completed. So Scott Gimple, love him or hate him, I don't want to start an argument over Scott Gimple. Personally, I like him. But Scott Gimple wanted to show that a character can leave The Walking Dead without getting killed off. So that's why I gave Dwight this new purpose, to go find Sherry. That way he could go leave the show without being killed off. And it leaves an incentive for him not to come back by Daryl saying if he ever sees him, he'll kill him. So we know he wouldn't come back. If you look at this way, look at all the big police dramas and doctor shows. People leave all the time. Kimbo wanted to prove that a show like this can do it. Frank Darabont did it in Season 1 with Morales. But what happened with Morales is people wanted Morales back. They kept questioning what's going on. That wasn't the purpose. The purpose of it was to show that people can leave the show without having to be killed off. I mean, people like I said, all these medical dramas and stuff like that do that all the time. But that's a little bit, I feel like that's more satisfying because people, it's just something different. In a show where people dies, I feel like a death to fans is something that they want to see rather than see them walk off into the sunset. But I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like they should have kept Dwight in that walking off into the sunset kind of storyline. It just doesn't make any sense. In my opinion, the only reason they brought Dwight to Fear is a cash grab. They saw how much Morgan kind of helped them, even though fans hated him and want him gone, especially the Alicia fans. Personally, I hate the Alicia fans, especially the crazy ones who have Google eyes over her. That's a story for another time, though. But I feel like there's a possibility here. One negative that I have about this is it just feels too convenient. Morgan leaves Virginia and just happens to run into this group. Then Dwight shows up and just again happens to run into this group. It just seems too convenient, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I do like Dwight, I love Morgan, but it just seems too convenient. Realistically, this probably would never happen, which is why I like the idea of Dwight leaving and never coming back. Realistically, that's something that would happen. And think about it this way, if you were surviving in a group in the zombie apocalypse, how many times do you think that you would have a group, you run into this guy, he helps you out, maybe get stuff. Then he decides to go off on his own way. That's something that would realistically happen. Dwight wouldn't just stick around just because he has other story to possibly kind of do. I know there's, and I feel like I've been getting this a lot. People have been arguing saying, but Dwight that has this big role in the Commonwealth and Whisper arc story. No, he doesn't. All Dwight does in the Whisper arc is read the Moshe. They could legit give that to anybody else. Aaron, Tara, Daryl, Carol, Michonne, any one of those characters could read the militia. That's the only thing Dwight does in the Whisper arc, except for, find a mask and put it on and come up with that idea. Any other character can do that. Then there's the argument, oh, but what about the Commonwealth story? Again, anybody could take that storyline. Magna could even do that storyline. She's been introduced, and even in the comics, her character has the same thought process in the same state as Dwight. So they could easily give that story arc to Magna. I feel like Dwight is a static character, even in the comics. He's a static character. He just moves plot device and just there just to be there. He's not needed, and I feel like the best thing that they could have done was make him walk off in the sunset. I know fans probably aren't going to agree with me on this, but I feel like they should have done that just to add in some more realism to the story arc and just to the story overall. But leave your thoughts and opinions about Dwight moving over into Fear the Walking Dead, and are you excited? Are you mad? What are your hopes and expectations for him? I think there's a possibility he could be made into a dynamic character instead of a static character. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about it in the comment section down below. Now, moving on to that question I mentioned earlier regarding, do I believe that Morgan and the Fear cast will ever run back into the Walking Dead cast? Now, that's a iffy one. I feel like with how they ended season 4, it seems like they would never go in that direction. It just seems strange for them to suddenly make that. It's like they were going straight, decided to make a sharp right, but then decided to make a U-turn and then go back the other way that they came. It wouldn't make any sense, in my opinion. But what I feel like could happen, now I got this idea, it's not my own personal idea, I got it from Ronnie Hayes over at Make a Path Presents. He suggests that they could maybe do something where our group maybe settles in an area like a community, maybe close to Alexandria and the Virginia communities, but it's a days or a couple, maybe like a week's days trip to Alexandria. That way you can have, like, say, Morgan and Alicia guest star on an episode of Fear or on an episode of the main show. Then you could have, like, Daryl and Carol or Michonne guest star on an episode of Fear. And you could have it go back and forth. That way they can be on both shows. You can kind of do it that way. Morgan can still be on the main show. Morgan can still be on Fear, and vice versa, possibly with Dwight. And that way you can keep them both close in an area. I know people are going to immediately say, but why wouldn't Morgan stay with them? It's easy. How did Morgan get back so quick? First off, just because Morgan got to Texas within one episode doesn't mean it took him that long. A whole different things could have happened that slowed his journey down or whatever. And he could have built up a relationship and bond with the Fear cast where he doesn't feel like leaving them. He's built up a bond so that he stays with them at their new community. And that's why he doesn't come back to Virginia that much. Or vice versa. Maybe he returns, finds out Rick's died, or presumably died, and he decides he can't be there because of the memories of Rick. So he decides to go with the Fear cast or something. They could easily do something like that. And then they could have, like I said, Morgan and Alicia or Strand guest star on an episode of The Walking Dead, or vice versa with Daryl, Michonne, or Carol. They could do that. I feel like that would be a good thing to do, or smart thing to do. It's kind of like, take for example, like the Chicago franchise on NBC, where you got like things like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, where you got siblings who are in both shows, where one will cross over, make a guest appearance in one episode, and then vice versa. I feel like they could do kind of something like that. They're in similar areas, but they have to travel a while to get there. So when they stay there, they have to stay there for a bit. That's why they're on one episode or whatever. They help them with this one problem, and then they leave, and then they go back to the other show. It's very simple, very easy in my opinion to do. I don't think that they'll bring the entire cast of Fear onto the main show. Don't get me wrong, they could do that. when or if Fear eventually gets canceled. Personally, I don't like that because it's kind of like, I don't like. Think about it this way: if they bring the entire Fear cast over to The Walking Dead right now, that means they got to give Alicia screen time now. They got to factor that in with now Carol and Michonne's screen time. Like, there's so many big characters like on The Walking Dead already. Negan and Carol and Daryl. One of them, or Michonne, one of them is going to end up being pushed to the background, similar to what happened in Fear in season 4. Like, they're going to have to shove someone to the forefront. Alicia probably, because she's a huge fan favorite. And our main cast from the original show is probably going to be sidelined. Think about it. People hated how Alicia and Strand were sidelined in season 4. Imagine people say they bring them over season 10 or 11 or 12. We followed these characters for years now. And then all of a sudden Alicia shows up and they shove Daryl or Carol or Michonne to the background. That's ridiculous in my opinion. I think that'd be a very bad idea. In my opinion, the best thing they could do is kind of like what I described there, is have them be in a close enough area where they can travel back and forth, but they're not like a part of the show permanently. I think that would be the best thing to do, and I think it would help out both shows in a sense as well. You can get both ratings back up, back and forth, and it would just it'd make an easy kind of standard way to have them guest star and have them kind of be back in the fold, especially Morgan. But overall, I feel like that's what they could or should do. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Also, like I said, I want to first clarify some of the information I gathered here was from Jake over at Study the Craft regarding the Dwight stuff. I did take some of the things that he's talked about in his videos and put them here. So just wanted to give him credit for some of those things, because I did talk about some of his stuff, and they weren't like my ideas or thoughts, they were what he's talked about. So I just wanted to give him credit. And this theory regarding the Fear and main show kind of rejoining is Ronnie Hayes' idea over at Make a Path Presents. So just wanted to give them credit for their ideas. These aren't just my own thoughts and opinions. They are from certain other people. I do agree with them to an extent and think that they could happen. I just want to give credit where credit's due to the people who actually originally came up with these ideas. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on these ideas in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, those are my quick thoughts and opinions regarding Dwight's crossover in the Fear the Walking Dead, as well as answering that one question regarding if I believe the Fear cast will ever cross paths with the main show cast ever again. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share, and don't forget to subscribe down below and hit that bell icon. That way you don't miss any more Walking Dead content or Fear the Walking Dead content from me in the future. This has been Vision here with Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.